Hi guys. Today I just thought I would share a little tutorial on making what I'm calling cluster sliders out of all of the little clusters that we make out of all of our scrap material and scraps. And we tend to use them the exact same way. But I came up with this little cute idea on a little hiding slider. So this is an envelope with a cluster on a slider that slides up and down. Oop, went a little fast there, sorry. And hides our envelopes, glassine bags, big paper bags. The possibilities, I believe, for this is endless. And it's pretty quick. With this particular one, I took a napkin. I took an envelope and I cut it in half. And then I glued on a little gusset on the inside so that it would remain as an envelope, but it gave me two envelopes. So it actually started out, believe it or not, this color of green, but this size. So I coffee dyed it and then distressed inked it, found center, cut center in half, and then I just had to put the gussets in on the inner sides to give me that double envelope. But the color is just beautiful. So let's get started and I'll show you how easy this is to put together. We'll start with, this is a time card. It's been coffee dyed. Actually, this time card and this little glassine bag, they were part of my Bygones Variety Team design project. And these can be purchased at Bygones Variety Shop. But I thought I would use them because I have them out and show you how to make a slider. So this is just a piece of my scrap file folder. I cut it to length, bend it around the time card, and then overlap. And that overlap just gives it a better chunk of material to glue down. You can use anything for your slider base, cardstock, file folder, anything that's heavy, because remember, this is going to hold the bulk of the weight as it slides up and down, whatever you're using it to slide on. So this file folder has a nice thickness to it. And I've chosen this cluster to go with it. It has a little report card, but I think the colors match nicely. With this coffee dyed up or just distressed, it would really blend it together. And then to be able to hide the little one staple, you know, you could put a button or a flower, something right there just to kind of hide it and pull it all together. But so what I do is once I get the base fitted, I then take my cluster and make sure you're in frame here, to make sure that I'm going to put it in the right spot. So what I do is just to determine how far up and how far down I want my piece to move. And then once I get that determined, I glue it onto that. And then I wait for that glue to dry so it doesn't glue onto whatever it is I'm sliding. Then I attach it. I run a string of bead of glue here, and then one on this side. And then when I overlap them, it gives it that structure. And then I try to take a piece of scrap paper at this point and put up in here to keep it from gluing itself to its object. So once that is on there, then we need to figure out which way we're going to utilize it. And that can be done in several different ways. A thin piece of cardboard. This is actually a ice cream box, but it is so thin that it's not going to add much bulk. You could measure across and cut a thin strip out. It needs to be thick enough to act as a stop. So when this moves, it will hit whatever's there and it stops it. And then also onto the bottom, you would do the same thing. So that's one option. But I really like the pop dots. More so this one. This is 1/2 inch. And this one is 1/16 of an inch. But these ones, I'll show you, are tiny. So, see if I can bring it up so you can see it. Little tiny feet, and then a bigger one. But they have give to them. So, and they're not as thick as the other ones, but these I use as my feet or my stoppers. So I would remove 4 of them. And then once I determine how far up I wanted my slider to go, I would put one here and then one here. And then I would do the same thing when, try this one, when I slide it down, how far I want it to go to the bottom, and then put one on each corner as well. With the pop-up dots, they're double adhesive. So you'd peel the top and it would be sticky, and then also peel the bottom layer off, which is sticky. But that gives you a couple different options when using the clusters in this manner. If I wanted to, we'll stay with this one. If I wanted to say, this is exactly where I want it, I could just put the sticky side onto the time card, and then I could do a double slider. Say, just using this, I could add this to there. That one's kind of big, but, oops, sorry, bumped you. Could add, the back side here. Now I've got a double slider, which then you'd be able to utilize the front and the back of the time card. And then you could put this on a hinge and to be able to flip it in and out of your junk journal. So that method works for me very well. Like I said, you can use anything that is a little bit thicker than your slider just to act as a stop. The possibilities are endless wherever you want to run your imagination. Even on a glassine bag as little as this one, which again, this is the can be purchased at the Bygones Variety Shop on Etsy. This, after you decorate I would either Mod Podge this, an envelope or a napkin on here, or stamp script or whatever to get my bottom layer done. This is a piece of cardstock. It's just, again, scrap out of my scrap bin. It's done the exact same way, folded, measured. Then you can take your cluster embellishment and put it over there. Have it stop to where it actually pulls up and all your pretty script or whatever would be showing down here. And nobody would even know that that's a little glassine bag. So it's pretty simple, and the uses are many. You know, once you play with the first one, your imagination just kind of goes wild, you know, turning sideways, adding flips or no flips, the way that you glue it down onto your page. It will work for all of it. It's just whatever you can come up with. So I hope that might have sparked some creativity using your clusters in a little bit different manner than our normal embellishments for safety or what are they, not safety pins, paper clips, and you know, pocket embellishments or whatever. That this will give you a little different idea on how to use up some of those clusters. Another one that I wanted to show you right quick, using up clusters, would be in this type of an envelope. It's also a slider, but just of the different type. Again, I took a large envelope. I got one right here. This one's quite large. And took the large envelope, found center, cut it in half. So now I have two envelopes. Again, so once it's cut in half, this is what you have for both halves. So in order to make this, open that one up for you. I took a bead of glue and ran it here and then around this little gusset that's kind of hanging out there, and then across here. You want to make sure that you glue that down, because if not, it tends to give you a lip, and your whatever you're stuffing inside of it will get hung up on that lip. So make sure you glue that onto the flap. So once I glued that flap down, now I'm left with my open side. I take and run a bead of glue, just a tiny bead of glue, down the side and seal it. So my whole envelope is sealed all the way around. Then with my hole punch, I pushed it straight down and punched my hole punch out right out of the center. Which looks, if I can get my little card back together, which would then look like that, the hole punched right in the center. Then I took it onto my cutting board and I lined my up right dead middle of that line of my cutting blade, right up in the center of the hole punch, and I cut it across. And when I did that, I ended up with this. And we've already got the top of it glued. So then it just makes us a top handle. This is a index card that has been coffee dyed. And it actually, I had to trim it just a hair. But it fits in there nicely. So once you poke it and make sure everything works well, then I line up a bead of glue in there on both sides, and then make sure it's all level and seal it together. Then it just goes right back in its little home. This is still a little wrinkly because I haven't ironed it. I haven't flattened it out. So it's a little wrinkly still from the coffee dye. But then you can have it lined up. So now you end up with your slider pocket. Then you can pick out whatever clusters you want. Here, I used a tag cluster that I had made with some corrugated board, some stamping, and then a little tag that just says beautiful on it. But you can add any of your clusters to the front to, you know, make that work with some fabric or lace, clusters, whatever you have, or whatever I guess your project is that you're working on. You know, here's a playing card. But again, the possibilities with these are endless. You can even use the whole card, the whole envelope if you want, or make your own envelopes. So that does it for me for today. I just wanted to show you some, hopefully maybe a new technique on using up some of those clusters that we've all been working on to get rid of our stashes. And hopefully you're inspired to try some yourself. Again, thank you and have a great day.